Thank you. I'm actually very, very honored, delighted, and truly blessed to receive this award this year. Um, you know, I truly never look backwards. I look at the future, I look at the present, and see where I am in my life and my journey. And I've been very blessed with the journey that I've had in my career, both in tennis and off the court. And so this is truly a very special moment for me and my family. Well, I always feel that the time I played on the tour in the 70s and 80s were truly very special to me. I was very fortunate to have played at that time. The great players of my era were Connors and Borg. McEnroe came a little bit later. And I just felt very privileged to have played during those periods and played against the best, lost to them, beaten them all, and had some great events over the years. Won numerous ATP Tour titles, and so it truly was a special moment for me to have. Well, I think as long as the desire is there for him, and then he always makes sure he works just as hard as what his desire says. So his passion is there, his desire is there, his work ethic is incredible, and it's incredible that he still has that kind of desire, wanting to win that extra Grand Slam. So I think Grass, he has a chance, no question about it. Alcaraz is missing. But it's the other guys that you really have to watch. There are lots of other guys who are coming along very quickly, and as we saw in the French Open. So it became completely wide open. So I think, yes, Sinner is a front runner, no question, but Djokovic is right behind. What the desire is, what the work ethic is, and what they would like to actually focus on as their career moves on. So if all of them decided they wanted to move on and play doubles, then you have to respect that. Think it's for someone from the outside to tell them what they should have and could have and would have done and so on and so forth. I think it's more a question of what each individual player wants to do. Certainly, players start playing the game of tennis to be able to be the next Federer or Nadal or Djokovic and so on and so forth. And certainly to win the majors and to win tour ATP tour titles. And all of that kind of comes from the initial aspect of wanting to play the game. And that's how they get started, and that's how they work towards being the best they can possibly be. So eventually, when your career is looked at over the years, you looked at the number of titles you won, and you looked at the number of times you played the Grand Slams, and how far you've gotten in the Grand Slams, and if you were fortunate enough to win one. That's why it made Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer so great. 66 majors between the three of them. It's very, very, very hard to actually answer hypothetical questions. We don't know what was going through their minds. You have no idea what the interest level was. You have no idea what their how long they would wanted to play. There's so many questions that need to be answered that only the coach, the parent, and the player would know between the three of them. And that's what they decide to do. And they chose to do what they eventually did. So it's in their best interest, and it's in the most important. So I think the most important thing is what is your end result? Are you in the world's top 100? Are you in the world's top 50? Are you in the world's top 20? I think that's what you end up looking for, and only once you start getting into those kinds of rankings, you get a chance to play in the Grand Slams. Otherwise, you don't. So it's hard to judge the quality of someone's play if we don't see them playing in the Grand Slams on a regular basis. It's hard to rate them because we're not talking about them playing against any of the players in the Grand Slams or in the majors, in the 1000 series Masters events or in the 500 series Masters events. We have to see them compete at that level to be able to say how good one can be. We have to get better. And the question is what each individual wishes to do to get better. And there are different ways of coaching. Coaching changes every 8 years. It changes, new elements come in, new technique comes in, and the new academies start across the world. And it's a question of how you also improve your own game to be able to keep up with the new kids that are coming along. So it's not that simple. I think it's very important to be able to stay focused and see how much you want this to be very much a part of your career, and how much you wish to sacrifice and work to get to be the best that you can possibly be. Well, it's been there for quite a while. It's just a question of being able to show a strong commitment to the game, irrespective of where you train and how hard you train, and take defeat with a knock on the head, get back up again and train again, so that when you lose to someone, you kind of show that listen, I don't want to lose to this guy again. So you do all the things that need to be done to make sure that you don't, and you have the right kind of partner in your coaching team that can actually make a difference to your own level of play, and literally have a desire, a work ethic, and a commitment that actually matches each other to be able to get better every single day. That's your life. I don't think there's one size fits all kind of situation here, or you can, you know, go to the pharmacy and get a prescription to make sure that all of these guys, everyone does the right thing. Because for each person, the prescription could be different, and it depends on the coaches, it depends on the environment, it depends on where you're training, and it depends on what's your work ethic, it depends on your commitment, it depends on your sacrifice, it depends, are you willing to give up everything that you can possibly want before you can actually try to get better at what you need to do. And the focus needs to be on moving up in that ranking system, which will get you into the Grand Slams. That's those are the few key elements. But at the end of the day, each person's work ethic is different. So for some people, 2 hours works, and some people 6 hours will not work. And in some places, you have to do more physical training as opposed to just playing tennis. So there's a lots of things that go into it, and for each person, it's different. There isn't one; they're all great. I mean, for them to have 66 Grand Slams between the three of them is just something that is unfathomable. I can't even imagine that we're talking these kinds of numbers. And and of course, in every generation has great champions, and the great geniuses of every generation would have been good in any generation, whenever they played, depending on what was available to them at that time. So I think you can't compare someone from today's generation to someone from 50 years ago, because you're not comparing apples and apples. So I think it's unfair to make that comparison. The more important thing is to be the best you can during the ten years or 5 years that you're playing. And what do you do that's good for you, that makes the difference? What's good for Djokovic doesn't necessarily mean it's good for Federer. So I think when we look at that, you got to decide what is good for you to get better. So we all enjoy watching Federer play. There's a reason for it, because he's so elegant, he's so graceful. He glides along the court. It doesn't look like he's running. Even it looks like when he hits the ball that he's actually caressing it. Nadal, on the other hand, plays well behind the baseline. He chases down everything. There is no give up on any point. He'd never say die spirit. You know that till the last point is played, Nadal will point like a match point. And Djokovic, on the other hand, we call him Spider-Man for a reason, because he stretches into the corner. And I've never seen anyone hit an offensive shot so well from a defensive position. So each of them brings some incredible talent and shots to the game. Most important thing here is that someone starts a game of tennis at 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, whenever he or she starts the game of tennis. You're not starting the game of tennis to be the greatest doubles player or the greatest mixed doubles player. You're starting the game of tennis to be the next Federer or the next Nadal or the next Serena Williams. Or that's why you start the game of tennis, if you want to be at that level, to be competitive at the world class level. So I think that itself should be the focus as to where you want to get to in your sport. I hope it'll come sooner than we think, and I hope that it'll come as long as I would love to be commentating at Wimbledon on an Indian player playing on the center court. We certainly need to have people playing in the Grand Slams on a regular basis for them to be able to perform well in singles, so that they can perform well in Davis Cup. And I come back to what he or she needs to do has got very little to do with anyone else. So you have to figure it out yourself to be able to get to be the best in the country, and then eventually the best in the continent, and then hopefully you compete with the best in the world to take you to heights that you want to get to personally. And only then are you going to be able to make a difference to your own career as to what you want to achieve. So the coaching system changes every 5 years, as I mentioned, and people move on. The times I played were different. Times that are going on today are different. And I think you have to respect that. And the coaches of today will teach like what's needed today. And needless to say, what makes you better to be able to make the top 100, top 50, top 20, and so on. So I think it's very important to have um, the coaches also aware of the times in which you're playing and what the changes have been to the game. Um, I served my country for many, many years in Davis Cup, 20 years. I served the tour. I did the best I could. In the open era, we reached the final of the Davis Cup twice. Both times I led India to the final. And so I think I'm very proud of that fact. It will continue to remain on my resume. And I look forward to seeing those kinds of achievements beaten in the near future. Have to make the top 100, top 50, top 20. That's why I keep saying that again and again. And whatever the athlete needs to do, he or she has to do to get there. And each person is different. So you have to respect that and then decide where these guys want to go and where they want to train and who should train them and what is your commitment to it. So each individual is different. So I always say that. So what's good for one might not be the best for the other. So we've done that even in the younger ages. So I think when you see these kids playing, their commitment should be that drive and that sacrifice and the discipline that goes into it, morning, noon, and night, with the best trainer that they can possibly have, that they respect, who can make them better. So they make the top 100 and top 50.